What's up, everybody? This is Jay Coop. It's mid-May. Mother's Day has just passed, so everywhere else in the country is finally able to put stuff in the ground without danger of frost. Congratulations for that. That's great. But here in Florida, oh yeah, we've already started. So here's the mango. Still loving life, putting out this new growth. I love how it's red and purple. There's cyanide containing compounds apparently in those new leaves to give that color. But yeah, this guy's from seed. Just keeps getting bigger. And on to the row. Got this dwarf banana slowly growing out here. Roselle, there's plenty of that. We're going to be able to harvest these calyxes for teas. I think the leaves are edible as well. Should turn into a big bush. Got some society garlic here. You just kind of eat the leaves, similar to chives, but they're very garlicky. Got these nice purple flowers that come up too. And down here is some sisu spinach. I just had some of this for the first time. You have to cook it a little bit. Got a little sweet potato here. This is my strategy for ground cover, to be able to let these sprawl about and keep the light from drying out the soil and suppress weeds while they're at it. Got a little papaya popping up right there. That's a lily flower. And then the leeks in a row here. We see some more leeks going down. And they are giving some shade to these little tomatoes. And they admittedly have not been doing great, because I think they're not so tolerant of the sun. Maybe I should have waited until after summer to put those in. So one of the downsides about planting in Florida as compared to the more northerly states this time of year, this is a nice jalapeno I just picked up from the store for $3. Got some flowers on that, so hopefully you're enjoying some of those peppers. That should grow through the heat pretty well. Some green onions throughout here as well. And more society garlic. This one's nice. This one's in bloom. This is a goji berry. Yeah, looking real nice. This is a more shaded area here. This gets sun later in the day, and it gets shaded throughout the later hours in the day too, so just a little window of sun. There's tomatoes doing a little better. We've got this ornamental banana. Those are really just here for chop and drop, biomass, mulch production. The fennel is loving it. The fennel's been going crazy, way later than I thought it would. And pop through here. This Damiana grows really well, and that's kind of a nice pretty plant, also a medicinal herb, and it just grows so well. That's just going to create more biomass. Got some marigolds protecting the tomatoes. Tomatoes are in a line here with the, we can see it pretty clearly, Florida weave method for trellis support. So this string is basically going in and out of each plant and then back in and out in the other direction. And then soon I'll be adding another layer as the plants grow taller. So here's what I planted from a pack of seeds that were advertised as sugarcane, but it turns out this is actually sorghum. So these flowers started to sprout, and I said that's not sugarcane. But apparently the sorghum can be chewed on like a sugar cane, and it's got a sweet juice that's going to come out of it. You can actually press it and make sorghum syrup. It's kind of a common thing to do, but they're vigorous growers and they're everywhere, so we'll see what I'll be doing with that. You can also take the seeds, which aren't really mature yet, and those can be milled into flour, but they can also be popped like popcorn, which I've actually done with some seeds that I bought. So I think that there's a lot of good that's going to be coming out of this misplaced sorghum supply. Aloe, keeping it in a pot because this stuff just goes crazy. It's everywhere. Pigeon pea. So these guys are getting nice here. These have been planted, albeit maybe a little bit too late as compared to everything else that I've been installing into the system here. Because the pigeon pea is really meant as a pioneer to not only grow quickly and be used for biomass, but to shade younger plants and seedlings and just create an overall sort of pioneering of the land. So ideally, you really want to get a bunch of pigeon pea just like invasively taking over your entire space, and then trim it back as needed, as opposed to looking at it and praying that it will grow more quickly, which is kind of what I've been doing. But there's a good amount of it, and you know, sometimes impatience gets the best of us, and we see things like blueberry trees for sale, and we want those in the yard as well. But it would do better as sort of a more protected prize crop. So more pigeon pea. And we've got here more roselle. These are some nice ones here. Some lemongrass I pulled apart from a huge bush of lemongrass that we had in the herb garden, and these are kind of strewn throughout because, again, they're going to create biomass, shade, and ideally repel pests. We've got longevity spinach here. Lychee, sweetheart lychee. Yeah. And here's a nice red mulberry. Thanks, honey. That's my lovely wife. She's just dropping off a protein shake for me. We've got a young longan down here. So enjoying some shade from this Mexican sunflower, which is another one that maybe I should have started earlier so it could provide this function. This is going to grow pretty vigorously though, so hopefully we'll have a few of these creating shade, and again, plenty of mulch and ground cover once they're harvested and dropped right back down. Sweet potato, more ground cover. Oh yeah, society garlic should also be repelling pests. And then yucca. This is another one that actually I have used as a pioneer without knowing it. It's one of the first things I was able to get to grow in this yard, probably 4 years ago. Someone just gave me a cutting, stuck it in the ground, and it was a 10-foot tree in a year. So short-sightedly, I tried to harvest it for the roots, cook those up, which didn't go so well. I probably should have done that a little bit better, especially considering the cyanide component. But I'm still here, and I was a little discouraged because you know, they're poisonous if you don't prepare them correctly. So kind of shied away from using them as food, not realizing the function they would be fulfilling now as biomass and shade and shelter, like this huge one that's been here a while. And it's creating a nice little environment for the stuff underneath it that doesn't want to be hit with sun all day, and it's keeping the soil moist and shaded. So that's a huge component of this approach to the density of planting that is referred to as syntropic agroforestry or syntropic gardening, wherein many different species can live in the same space at the same time and coexist rather than compete. This pineapple is looking great. I trimmed the pineapple, so a lot of these branches were not looking so great. I just trimmed them back to the good parts, and I think that's a good strategy because now it just, if nothing else, it just looks so much better. But I think it's happier too. Coming down low for another bit of longevity spinach that's now in my shadow. But that's probably good though, the more, you know, it's in shadows, because spinach should not be exposed to the sun all day. Sweet potato, another longan. My buddy Alex gave me that spinach. And I'm going to zoom out once again here to show that I have these paths, right? And this one's lined with sorghum. There's a little peach tree in a pot still. I'm thinking of putting it here in the shade of the sorghum while it grows. I think that's a good spot for it. It'll go in the ground. Canna lily. Here's a calamondin, which is a small sweet rinded citrus, and you just go ahead and eat the whole skin. I was actually told it was a kumquat tree. It's similar to a kumquat, but it's a calamondin. A little more tart and round fruits. So after putting this here a couple days later, a few of these fruits were just chewed up and eaten by some clawed creature. As you can see, there's some marks. And so I thought it would be doomed. And then I put these dragon fruit cuttings from a tree that I wanted to relocate that wasn't really doing what I hoped it would do, obviously making fruit. But I put them around it as a sort of spiky barrier, and there have been no issues. So that was pretty cool. And then coming back up the row, another roselle, some lemongrass. And so I have these sections with paths in between them. So in here, Damiana, papaya, which has been another huge sort of pioneer, the pioneer fruit species, as it yields in like its second year. So before it's 2 years old, it's making fruit. They grow so quickly, and then they have a nice canopy for shade too. So that was something I did without really knowing what I was doing. Although I did know that I was getting fruit, which is kind of my sole motivation for planting so many papaya trees. But hey, you know, it works out. Nature has a plan and things work out. So this is a Fuyu persimmon, the real deal. Just got this guy. Seems to be pretty happy here. This I thought was a Fuyu persimmon 3 years ago when I planted it, but it turns out that's not at all what it is. I don't know what it is. It's not produced anything, but again, no loss. At the very least, I will chop it and drop it. It's a nice looking tree. Alright, so this lime is just not in the right spot for a lime. Not happy, and that's okay. You know, I just have to let that happen as it's going to. Society garlic, cranberry hibiscus, was left for dead but came back to life. Neelam mango. So this little guy's getting shade from this huge cassava tree, aka yucca. Okinawan spinach down here. I'm not sure what these are, but they're popping up. And it may have been something I planted. And that's okay. I'm gonna let them grow, and again, they're gonna be functional. As long as those things that are functionally shading and used for biomass aren't going to seed and just becoming completely invasive and out of control, you're good. So if something starts to seed, maybe just like get that part out of there if you don't know what it is or want more of it. These Roselle are nice. They're going to be huge bushes. And then the Suriname cherry. Huge fan of these guys. I'm really looking forward to that. It seems to be pretty happy right there. Another ornamental banana coming down, papaya. Roselle lemongrass Damiana. Here's a nice jackfruit. The tallest one that I have that's still in a pot, the tallest plant that I have that's still in a pot. So I have it here shading this Kari mango because in the evening the sun beats on it pretty hard, and these new growth opportunities I feel like have been getting a little bit burnt. So I wanted to give it some more shade. I haven't seen any new growth out of this yet since I planted it, so I really want to see that. And this is a giant Indian jujube. So these guys will fruit in the winter, which will be cool. And they're kind of like apples, I hear. Oh, we've got the flowers starting already. Pretty drought tolerant tree apparently, but here's one of the sorghum that are really starting to grain up. Pineapple, yucca, roselle, and here's a guava. Ruby Supreme guava. I got this from the store. It's not looking super awesome. Like, the color of the leaves isn't fantastic, but it keeps making new ones, so I think it's doing okay. It gets a lot of sun. This is a nice happy custard apple. A buddy of mine gave me a few of those in a pot. They're mislabeled. It's a custard apple. Here's a guava ice sprouted from seed. Pineapple. Some more sweet potato here, recently put in the ground. And the blue Java ice cream banana. Hey, check out the video from last month if you want to see how much this has grown. This one is going to be a superstar. Stay tuned. More sorghum. Lots of it around here. Pigeon pea. We've got the fig sprawling. And all this stuff that kind of pops up around it. This kind of natural ground cover. Some kind of ponyfoot, I think is what my wife calls it. She's an herbalist. She knows more than I do. Oh, the curry tree. Hello. Let's say hi. And some curry berries. Oh, starting to grow. These are super good. They're really interesting. Where are they? Can I get those? Hey. Those have a nice flavor. Kind of similar to the Suriname cherry, I think. It's kind of a turpentine-y, slight hint of flavor mixed in with sweetness. And jackfruit is the one that's in the ground. I started from seed. Star apple, looking super healthy. That's the biggest one I've got. Also started that from seed. Got more yucca, sugar apple. Oh, that reminds me, I had another sugar apple and soursop that we passed because it was hidden underneath a cassava tree where it's nice and snug and happy. Mexican sunflower, pigeon pea, because this is really a very sunny area and also windy. So lots of windbreak crops going on here, and then nestled in here is this lemon zest mango. This I had in this spot just further out, and it dried out completely. I really wasn't watering it enough. It lost all of its leaves, so it's just come back out from the nursery where it has just sprung back to life. So high hopes for this, looking really healthy now. And the last leg here, some more Mexican sunflower, pigeon pea. Now this density is really more ideal. Sorghum, so there's creating a lot of shade here, and this can just be cut and dropped down, which I'm actually going to do the first pass of sometime probably next month, to drop down some of the trees before the stormy, rainy, windy season, so that there's less potential for damage. I will do the damage the way that I would like to do it. And oh, we almost missed the plantain. Plantain's in there. And then you wonder, hey, you know, does this Mexican sunflower need to be trimmed back already to give more light to this plantain? But he's super happy. And if anything, this new growth here looks like it might be getting a little bit burnt. So we want that new leaf to come out real nice, and I think the shade is the best spot for that. Eventually this banana will outgrow everything around it. These mulberry trees, they're gonna get chopped in the first pass. They need to come down, especially being right next to this light wire, because last year they really blew into that wire and caused some issues with the poles. But we've got some really healthy tomatoes over here, which is a sunnier area, so it makes me kind of question the sun hypothesis as to why the other ones aren't doing so great. Because I mean, we've got some nice sized tomato plants here. But a buddy of mine planted the same seeds at the same time I did, and his are like twice as big. So I'm like, these are not as good, but they're still gonna be awesome. Got some flowers already. Yeah, there's a soursop that I grew from seed right there. And I've got some passion fruit that I'm hoping will start to take off and go up the mulberry. This mango that my buddy RJ gave me from seed, super happy. Look at that new leaf, look at that new growth. Amazing. Roselle, volunteer, squash or zucchini of some kind. Edible hibiscus, the lone survivor from that pack of seeds. And I'm just going to zoom it out to the moringa cutting here. It's got new growth already. That's going to be way bigger next time, remember that. And the pomelo from seed, looking pretty happy, although I think I want to cut off these lighter colored branches. They're getting a little sooty. That's got to go. I'm cutting that. And the monster papaya to cap it off. This one's been a huge producer. So thanks so much for coming by, walking through the garden here for the May tour. Check it out next month and see all the growth. If you guys have any questions, please leave them here in the comments. I respond to all of them. If you have anything to add, any suggestions, something that would be helpful, please leave that there too. I would love to hear what you have to say and learn more. Oh, the moringa, I didn't point that out. It's getting massive. It's 6 feet already from when I cut it down probably less than a month ago. But yeah, please let me know what you have to say. Any advice is much appreciated. then we can learn and grow together. So this is Jay Coop signing off, and I will see you next time. Peace.